Have you ever thought about what would have happened if Levi injected the Titan serum into Erwin instead of Armin? Well, we did. And honestly, the story that unfolds is something we personally think is even more intense than the original. And by the end of this video, you might agree. So let's get into it. So here's the situation. Erwin Smith is barely alive after Zeke's Beast Titan used him and the rest of the Survey Corps as human bowling pins. Armin, on the other hand, sacrificed himself to take down Bertolt, and in doing so got turned into a burnt crisp. Levi now has 1 Titan serum and 2 dying people. In the original timeline, he chooses Armin, but in this version, he looks at Erwin one more time and chooses his commander. Erwin Smith gets the serum. He transforms. He eats Bertolt, and he inherits the Colossal Titan. Armin Arlert dies on that rooftop, and the story is never the same again. The first thing that changes is the atmosphere inside the Survey Corps. Mikasa and Eren are devastated. Armin was their closest friend since childhood, and watching him die while Erwin gets saved? That creates a tension between them and Levi that never fully goes away. But Erwin doesn't waste time grieving. That's not who he is. The moment he's lucid enough to speak his first question to Hank is, "What did we find in the basement?" Classic Erwin. Half dead, still on mission, Hank shows him everything. The books, the photographs, the truth about the outside world. And Erwin Smith, the man who spent his entire life trying to prove his father's theory, finally gets the confirmation he always wanted. You'd think that would give him peace, but it actually does the opposite. Because now that his lifelong goal is complete, Erwin starts asking a new question. What happens next? A few months pass and things on Paradise are moving fast. Eren is getting restless. The military is debating what to do about Marley. And the anti-Marleyan volunteers have shown up on their shores with Zeke. Now in the original timeline, Eren went to Marley completely alone without telling anyone his plan, because he knew people would try to stop him. Eren actually approaches Erwin directly and tells him he wants to bring the fight to Marley. Why? Because Eren respects Erwin, always has, and deep down he wants someone who actually understands strategy to be on his side. Erwin listens to everything Eren says, and then he does something that genuinely surprises Eren. He agrees, not to the full plan, not to everything, but he agrees that waiting around on Paradise while Marley regroups is not a winning strategy. The difference is Erwin wants to do it smarter. Eren wants to go in like a wrecking ball, and that disagreement right there is what drives this entire alternate timeline. So here's how the Marley operation goes in this version. Instead of Eren showing up alone at the festival and starting everything himself, Erwin coordinates a proper military operation. Eren infiltrates Marley just like in canon, makes contact through Falco's letters, but this time the Survey Corps isn't scrambling to catch up with him. They're already in position. When the attack begins, Erwin transforms as the Colossal Titan and absolutely levels the port. Way more efficiently than Armin did in canon because Erwin has actual combat experience and military instincts. Eren takes down Lara Tiber and gets the Warhammer Titan. Marley doesn't know what hit them. And here's the big difference from canon, because Erwin is coordinating everything properly. The operation is cleaner, faster, less chaotic, which means Sasha doesn't die, because Gabi never gets a chance to sneak onto the airship. The Survey Corps makes it back to Paradise with everyone alive. For the first time in a long time, it actually feels like they won. But here's where it gets really interesting. Back on Paradise, Eren and Zeke need to make contact to unlock the Founding Titan. Zeke still has his euthanization plan. His idea to use the Founding Titan to sterilize all Eldians so they can no longer reproduce, ending the cycle of conflict forever. Eren pretended to agree to this plan in canon, and he does the same thing here. But Erwin is watching. And Erwin Smith did not survive everything he survived to get played by a 20-year-old with anger issues. He starts noticing the signs. The way Eren talks about Zeke's plan without any real conviction. The way the Jaegerists are mobilizing in ways that don't line up with the euthanization agenda. Erwin puts it together before anyone else does. Eren doesn't want to sterilize Eldians. Eren wants the rumbling. And when Erwin confronts him about it, Eren doesn't deny it. He just looks at Erwin and says, "Then you know why it has to happen." And for a long moment, Erwin doesn't have an answer. Because the terrifying thing about Eren's logic is that it's not entirely wrong. So here's how this plays out. Erwin can't stop Eren from making contact with Zeke. It happens too fast. Eren gets access to the Founding Titan. And just like in canon, he takes control away from Zeke and starts the rumbling. The Wall Titans wake up. And now the situation is different from canon in one crucial way. The resistance trying to stop Eren is significantly stronger. In canon, the only Titan shifters on the Allied side were Armin as the Colossal Titan and Annie after she was freed. In this timeline, Erwin has the Colossal Titan. But Erwin doesn't need to stop the rumbling entirely. He just needs to get to Eren. And getting to one specific target in a chaotic battlefield, that's exactly the kind of mission Erwin Smith was built for. The final confrontation between Erwin and Eren is brutal, personal. Two people who genuinely respect each other on opposite sides of the most important decision in human history. Erwin doesn't win, but he slows the rumbling down enough that the Allied forces, the remaining Marleyans and Survey Corps members, can coordinate a proper attack. Mikasa gets to Eren, and just like in canon, she makes the choice that ends everything. Eren dies. The rumbling stops. 80% of the world outside Paradis is gone. And Erwin Smith stands in the aftermath. No war left to fight and has to figure out how to build something from the wreckage. Which, honestly, if anyone can do it, it's him. So that's what happens if Levi chose Erwin instead of Armin. The operation against Marley is cleaner. More lives are saved in the short term. Sasha gets to live. But Eren still finds a way to the rumbling because Eren always finds a way. The difference is that with Erwin alive, the resistance is stronger. The final battle hits different. And the world that survives has a much better chance of being rebuilt properly. One decision, one needle, an entirely different war. If you want to see more alternate timelines like this, subscribe to Beyond the Plot, and suggest me what new topic should I cover. See you then, and subscribe.